Hello and welcome to Pillars of Eternity. For those of you who don't know, Pillars of Eternity is a top-down isometric classic RPG or CRPG developed by Obsidian Entertainment and released in 2015. It was one of the earlier games to be successfully backed on Kickstarter, and I believe at some point during its development cycle it also saw the involvement of Paradox Interactive. Although I'm not exactly sure as to the capacity of their involvement and why exactly they were brought on board. I presume it was to provide some funding, maybe to publish the game. In any event, their logo is in the opening credits, so they were involved somehow, although I doubt they had any key decision-making capabilities in respect of creative direction or game design decisions or anything like that. I'm pretty sure Obsidian Entertainment were chiefly responsible for the direction and design of the game and its development. But yeah, Pillars of Eternity, it is a great game. Really recommend it to anyone who hasn't played it. It's obviously being developed by Obsidian Entertainment, possessed of excellent world building and writing and character design and quests. So anyone that's played Fallout New Vegas will be able to testify to Obsidian Entertainment's very highly lauded reputation in writing and producing good game writing and design and quests and that sort of thing. So yeah, highly recommended on that basis. It's well worth your time, particularly if you're a fan of RPGs. Even if you've never played an isometric or top-down RPG before, if you just like good fantasy world building and writing, really recommend this game. It's built on the Unity engine, although the exact engine they created for it is called the Infinity engine, and it's a pretty solid little engine. It's got some really cool real-time with pause combat. The attributes that you would expect in an RPG are there, the skills are there, the dialogue's there. So yeah, just a really solid game. It's got very nice art design as well, and you'll see what I mean. Although the color palette for this game is a little darker than the color palette for its sequel, but it's still really good, and it probably fits the theme and the setting of the story a little bit more as well, having a darker color palette. So yes, there is a sequel. It's Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, and that is set in the Deadfire Archipelago, which is a place within the world of Aora. Aora is where Pillars of Eternity is set. That's spelled E-O-R-A. And yes, Deadfire is a very good game as well, and I'd recommend you play that too. I probably liked the sequel a little bit more than the first game, not just because it had a bit of a brighter color palette, but mainly because I just thought the setting was really interesting. So in the Deadfire Archipelago, there are a number of tribes and peoples which are based on real-world Polynesian civilizations, and I just thought that was a really interesting choice in a video game. You really don't see Polynesian civilizations represented all that much in media, let alone in video games, and so seeing that in Pillars of Eternity 2, I just thought was really cool. I mean, maybe you'll see Polynesian civilizations in Sid Meier's Civilization or Age of Empires 2 or something, but beyond that you don't see it, and I thought it worked really well. So highly recommend you play this game and then Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. Reason being, play this game first. You don't need to play the second game, like the stories are distinct, but there is some benefit to playing this game first in terms of understanding a bit of the world. There are some recurring characters that you will be in the second game that you meet in this game, so it's always nice to kind of know their backstory a bit from this game. And the main reason to play the games in chronological order is that you can actually import your save game from the first game over into the second game. So if you start a new game on Pillars of Eternity 1 and play it through, you can import your character into Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire and carry on with that character. So I think that's pretty cool. Now there is a third game in development by Obsidian Entertainment. It's called Avowed, so it's not called Pillars of Eternity 3. And the reason that the IP has changed names is because the third game isn't going to be a top-down isometric CRPG. It is instead going to be a first/third-person action-adventure RPG, much in the style of Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, and Fallout. So I'm really looking forward to that. We don't actually have a release date for that as of yet. I would expect it to be probably next year, maybe early the year after. They haven't really announced much about it beyond the the teaser trailer I think that they dropped, which is pretty cool. I'd recommend you check that out. If you just search Avowed trailer, it'll come up. But yeah, so the IP is shifting into a first/third person action adventure RPG, and the reason for that was that Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire didn't sell as well as this game. It's no surprise that top-down CRPGs are a pretty niche genre. They don't have mass appeal, whereas a game like Skyrim obviously does. So hence the IP is transitioning. And I'm okay with that. I like those games too for different reasons. So I just hope that the world building and the writing is maintained in Avowed, because the world of Eora that they've built in these first 2 games deserves it. It's just a really cool and interesting world. But anyway, we're going to jump in here and play a new game. Now, I've played through this game once before, and I've played through Pillars of Eternity 2 once before as well with the character that I created in this game. But it's been some time since I've jumped back into the world of Eora, and I've been missing it, and obviously I'm conscious that the 3rd game's coming out sometime soon, so I thought I'd come back and revisit this one. So we're going to start a new game here. And now we get to pick our difficulty. So there's 5 difficulty modes, ranging from the easiest here at story time all the way to the hardest at Path of the Damned. I'm pretty sure the first time I played through this game, I played either on normal or hard. Hard, I think, is the intended balance for the game that the developers recommend playing on, even though you would think it would be normal, but no, apparently it's hard. If you have played CRPGs before, you're pretty familiar with them. Maybe you've played Wasteland or Divinity Original Sin. You kind of know your way around them. You could probably jump in on hard for your first playthrough. It's particularly if you're quick at picking up game concepts and that sort of thing. Otherwise, jump in on normal. Normal is fairly fine to play through the game as. Like, you won't really struggle, in my opinion, if you're familiar with CRPG games and how they're played. If you're not familiar with CRPG games, maybe play on easy, and if you're not really good at video games in general, maybe play on story time. And that way, on either of those, you can just sort of get through combat fairly easily and just enjoy the excellent story that is presented in Pillars of Eternity. And we're going to play on Path of the Damned, though. I've never played on this difficulty before, but I'm pretty comfortable that I can handle it alright. So in this difficulty, enemies receive a bonus to most stats, and encounters will have many more enemies. And we can't turn this option off in-game, so we're stuck with it. Now there's also Expert Mode and Trial of Iron. Trial of Iron is just essentially Iron Man mode, so you get one save game that you have to save over, and if your character dies, the file is deleted and you have to start again. I'm not going to enable that because I don't want to have to restart the game every time I die. I don't know how frequently that may or may not be, so I'm just going to leave that off. And then there's Expert Mode. That is like a realism mode. It disables a number of helper features in the game, so being able to see certain statistics and background information and the underlying mechanics of the game. So that's a good mode to turn on if you just want to be able to rely on your own faculties and intuition while playing the game to get through it. But we're going to leave that disabled as well because I want to be able to look at some of the underlying numbers and see all those sort of helper features. So we're going to go with that. Now when I hit accept here, it's going to take us to a little opening intro, and then it's going to launch us into character creation. And I plan to spend, well, let me put it this way. Character creation, you can really go in depth on. So what I'm going to do is in this video, once we get to character creation, I'm going to put in a cut, and then I'm going to come back and my character will have been created, and I'll just briefly recap the character creation decisions I made, and then we'll get launched into the game. And there will be a separate video available on the channel at the same time as this video, in which I will be going through character creation in depth. So that'll be like a 40 to 60 minute video where I really drill down into the detail of character creation. I read all of the tooltips about the lore, I read all of the classes and all their abilities, even the ones that, even the classes we're not going to end up playing as. So if you're interested in that, or if you've never played Pillars of Eternity and you want to learn a bit more about the game concepts, watch that character creation video because I will go through all of that in great detail while creating my character. But if you're not interested in that, then just stick around in this video because I'll put in a cut and then my character will have been created, and I'll recap briefly the decisions that I made and some of the background of the character. So that's what's going to happen. So without further ado, let's hit accept and get going.
5 wagons grope blindly for the path on a starless night, their master glancing ever upward to the skies for assurance that he is on the right course. A dim lantern his only protection against the encroaching darkness. But the skies bring no comfort, shining no light, betraying no hint of what they know. The caravan carries travelers bound for the frontier hamlet of Gilded Vale, you among them, where a local lord has offered land and wealth to settlers from abroad looking for a fresh start. You have taken suddenly ill, sweating and shivering, and one of the other travelers signals for the caravan master to stop on your behalf. He pulls up just in time to avoid plowing into the trunk of a fallen tree that bars the way ahead. You will go no further tonight.
Alright, so here we are with character creation. Like I said, I'm going to put in a cut here and create my character, and then when I come back we will briefly recap the decisions I made and then get going. But if you want to see the full in-depth character creation process, there'll be a separate video on the channel. It'll be linked in the description as well, so go check that out, and we'll be going through everything here in great detail. Sex, race, class, attributes, culture, appearance, and voice. We'll drill down, we'll read everything, we'll read all the tooltips. So yeah, go check that video out. But otherwise, I'll see you in a jiffy. Alright, and we're back. So this is our character. We are Casemir, a level 1 Cipher. We're a male, we're a human, and we're one of the 3 human subraces. We're meadow folk. And then yes, we're a Cipher. We went with Antipathetic Field, which is a beam ability. And then we went with Whisper of Treason, which allows us to charm enemies. And we also have the Cipher's passive Soul Whip ability, which generates focus when we attack enemies, and then we can spend that focus on these powers. For our attributes, we went with 19 Might, 3 Constitution, 17 Dexterity, 16 Perception, 19 Intelligence, and 4 Resolve. Our culture is Old Valian, and our background is we were a mercenary. Then I went with this appearance portrait, as I think it matches our character pretty well. We've got some facial hair, the eyes look a bit similar, the complexion looks similar. The hood as well is like kind of purple and matches the Cipher's kind of abilities and aesthetic. And then for the voice, we went with male stoic voice. So that's our character. A little bit of background of our character. Our father was a human as well, but he was an ocean folk or Calabandra human from the Valian republics, and he was a pirate, and he traveled around Aora in places like the Deadfire Archipelago and Valian republics, pillaging and plundering and stealing loot, before eventually making his way to the Deerwood, whereupon he met our mother, who was a meadow folk human, a pale-skinned lass. And then, you know, one thing led to another, and 9 months later we were born. But then eventually we struck out on our own as a mercenary after our father mysteriously disappeared, never to be seen again. And we still don't know where he is to this day. But yes, we struck out as a mercenary on our own, and have sort of lived a life on the road, joining up with adventures and expeditions ever since. So that is our character, level 1 Cipher. Really looking forward to playing through the game as a Cipher. I've not played that class before, but it's a cool class. So, alright, let's get going. Cool ruins. The Caravan Master finishes addressing the group, his bushy red moustache and sagging jowls quivering as if for emphasis.
Everybody stays close to the wagons, got it? Stay out of the woods, and beasts take you if you were planning a stroll through those ruins up there.
He nods toward a looming black mass on the hillside.
Whole area's crawling with hut-dwelling types who would be happy to stick an axe in you for trespassing. So mind that you don't track mud on their sacred blazing rocks. Tonight, everybody stays put, and in the morning we'll get the path cleared. Gilded Vale's less than a day out. Understood?
At last, the Caravan Master turns to you, frowning as he looks you over.
Touch of the rumbling rot, could be. There's a stinging beetle round here, carries it. You'll be fine once it passes your innards. Unless you don't drink water, of course. which case you'll be dead in a day. There's a berry grows in these parts, small and pink, called a springberry, about the size of a fingernail. Give you cramps if you eat it, but the frontiersmen make a tea from it. Calms the insides. Should get you through the night. You might check around, see if you can find some. Meanwhile, I'll see if we can scare you up some water. I know you want to hunt before it gets much darker, but see about refilling our water first. Got a sick one here.
Odima had looked over his shoulder at his assistant, a lanky, intense man named Sparfle, who carries an old, sun-bleached bow. Upon addressing Sparfle, he nodded in our direction, and Sparfle in return nodded back and slid the worn bow over his shoulder. Well, thank you, Odima, for stopping the caravan on my behalf, and for my benefit, but where would I find these berries?
They grow on a bush that's common round here, kind of funny looking. You'll know it when you see it. Doubt you'd have to go far off the road to find one.
Okay, and what are those ruins up there?
Nothing you won't see on half the hills of Glonfoth. Money to be made selling their knickknacks in Defiance Bay, if you don't mind getting stuck with Glonfoth and arrows now and again. They didn't build them, but I'll be the effigy if they don't watch them like a mother bear.
So we're in Glonfoth at the moment then, or at least we're at the border of Glonfoth and a place called the Deerwood. The Deerwood is an area or a kingdom which was formerly a colony of the Adir Empire, but which broke free. And it borders Glonfoth, but has a lot of disagreements because the colonists of Deerwood still have their Adiran culture, whereas Glonfoth is filled with these tribal Glonfothans who are, pretty barbaric by the sounds of it.
Of course, all the ones around here have been ransacked 10 times over. Got nothing left worth half a pawn. So I hear.
He adds with a wink. So, our characters' attributes, skills, class, race, culture, and sex may all open up options for us in dialogue. These options are not necessarily superior to the other responses, but give a wider variety of choices to select from. The manner in which someone responds to your choices depends on their individual personality and attitude. Okay, so if the Glonfothans didn't build these ruins in Glonfoth, then who did?
Got different names for them. Settlers called them Ingwithans. Nobody that liked them enough to stop them becoming ruins, tell you that much.
Odima shrugs. Okay, and is it dangerous out here?
Not if you hurry about your business.
Oh, fair enough.
And not if the weather holds up.
There is concern in his tone, but he does not elaborate. What kind of weather do they get out here that's got you so concerned, Odima?
This time of year, rain mostly, and wind. But there's a different kind of wind out here time to time. Locals call it a Beowick, born out of the ether, the spirit's path. Never seen it myself, never cared to.
I don't know, sounds a bit superstitious to me, but okay, fair enough. And what are these huge rocks coming up out of the ground?
They don't got Adra where you come from? Well, it just grows up out of the ground like this. Goes deep like tree roots. Some of it all the way to the heart of the world, you believe the stories.
Odima frowns.
It's more like a shell than a proper rock. Easier to work if you're a mason. Got all kinds of strange properties. Seems to have some kind of life of its own. Dies if it gets dug up. Loses its luster. Folks think it probably grew at one point or another, but not these days. The soul butchers in Defiance Bay use it for different things. I've heard tell it can hold a man's soul, but I don't care to see it. Got enough to worry about without seeing something like that.
Fair enough. Okay, well, I'll go see about those berries then.
Hold on. Take someone with you. I know you're not some helpless tenderfoot, not like most of this lot. But you drop dead, I don't want to be looking for the body. Got a schedule to keep.
He scans over the travelers, resting his eyes at length on a sturdy, armor-clad woman who has spent the journey's night sleeping on uneven ground without blanket or pillow.
Kalisha. Kalisha!
The woman looks up on her own time.
He needs to find some springberries. Watch that he doesn't drop dead.
No promises.
What kind of guide says something like that?
Kind you can afford.
Don't listen to her. You're in good hands. And I pay too well, if anything.
Odima chuckles and shakes his head while looking at us, but he casts a sidelong glance at Kalisha when referencing her pay.
Off with you. Hayadin should have supplies. See that you're equipped before you head out. We're in harsh country. Get your berries and hurry back. And if you get so much as a tickle of wind, you drop everything and you run. Something in the air tonight. If it's a Bewick, we'll shelter in the ruins. Hut dwellers be damned.
Odema is stern when addressing us once more, and his small grin recedes beneath his mustache.
You heard the man. Let's get going before you keel over.
Alright, so here we are in Pillars of Eternity. So our party will always consist of our character and up to 5 additional companions or adventurers. And while the caravan is camped outside the Glanfathan ruins, Odema has assigned Kalisha to help us. Kalisha is a fighter, a class that excels at close quarters defense. And then, yeah, we can select party members and move them around and do other things like that. And yeah, when multiple are selected, the action bar is hidden, but if we select just one at a time, we can see the action bar here. Great, okay, let's speak to Odema again.
Go on then, before it gets too dark.
Okay, he doesn't have
Go
anything
on then,
more to
before
say.
it gets too dark.
So most people you encounter in the world are neutral or friendly. You can interact with them by clicking on their selection circle. Many characters will simply greet you and go on their way, but others will have larger conversations to explore. The merchant Heodan has a conversation that opens a store with equipment for sale. Great. Don't mind Odema, this is as good a place to camp as any. It's best not to wander alone, especially so near the ruins. Oh, what's that? So that is a locked chest. Now our character, because of our mercenary background, we have 1 skill in mechanics, so we need 1 lockpick to open it. If we had 2 skill in mechanics, we wouldn't need a lockpick at all. And there's something here as well. Check that out. Let's speak to these caravanners. Caravan life doesn't agree with you, does it? You look as raw as that merchant Heodan. I suppose you wouldn't know much about Glanfathans. They're mighty protective of places like this. You really don't look so good. Odema was right to stop. All kinds of beasts in these woods, and then you have the tribes. I've travelled with Odema before. He's never led us astray. Don't mind Odema, this is as good a place to camp as any. I see more and more people on the roads these days, looking for safety in towns and cities, it seems. It's best not to wander alone, especially so near the ruins. Yep, don't worry, I won't. And what about you? Do you have anything to say? No, okay, nothing new anyway.
What you need?
What about Kalisha? Can we talk to her?
Springberries grow wild all over the place here. Keep your eye out. What you need? Springberries grow wild all over the place here. Keep your eye out.
I'll get it open.
Okay, so I can't open that. We should loot that. Ah, lockpick in here, that's convenient. So we can open that now.
Finished.
Cool, we get a potion of minor endurance. And this is the Adra here. These tall glass green pillars appear as if they have sprouted from the earth. The flickering fire sets shadows dancing within. The living rock. Very unusual. Haven't heard of anything like that before. Here are our horses, which I don't think we can interact with. Orlan's cradle. Some kind of mushroom that we just picked up. The fallen tree doesn't budge. Sap oozes from the jagged wound in its trunk.
Not looking forward to trying to lift that thing tomorrow.
Yeah, indeed. Don't think we're going any further down that path tonight. Plus, we need to get these spring berries and some water first.
Anyone need supplies? I've got sundries for sale.
Ah, this is the merchant Heodan, evidently. Let's have a chat with Heodan. You see a man wearing simple but mostly neat clothes. He's transfixed, however, by a ragged tear in the seam of his tunic.
Brought a whole wagon full of goods to sell, but not enough shirts for the road.
He shakes his head and laughs when he notices us. He scratches one cheek with his knuckles. It's covered with uneven stubble, as if he hasn't quite gotten used to shaving on the road.
Say, is there anything you need? I've got some basic traveling supplies for sale if you'd like to take a look.
Perhaps, but first, tell us who you are.
I'm a trader, originally from the Adir Empire, but I've been trying to establish new business out here. Life on the road has brought some unexpected challenges, to be sure. And I'm sure you've noticed how prickly the locals can be. But we're here to make the most of things, right?
He looks at his wagon and grins ruefully. Well, if you think these caravanners are prickly, watch out for those axe wielders Odima mentioned. He laughs. That's excellent advice indeed. So we now have one rank in a disposition reputation, that being the disposition of clever. These reputations represent how people perceive your personality throughout the world. Even seemingly nasty reputations will be favored by some people, and benign reputations often bring out the worst in others. No disposition is inherently good or bad in Pillars of Eternity, but if your main character is a priest or paladin, you must be careful not to misalign their dispositions with what is favored by their deity and order, respectively. For the main character only, their dispositions will modify the effects of holy radiance for priests and faith and conviction for paladins. Okay.
Something else you need? Looks like we're settled for the night.
Well, tell me a little bit about the Adir Empire, where you're from.
It's not as big as it used to be, but it's still big. The mainland is a continent northwest of here, but the colonies used to include Raed Ceres and the Deerwood. About 150 years ago, Deerwood won its independence from the Empire, a fact our companions are quick to remind me of.
He gives you a lopsided grin and nods at the other scattered caravanners. Okay, well, why'd you move all the way out here?
Because it seemed friendlier than Raed Ceres? My brothers took over the family mercantile business a few years ago, and there wasn't enough for me to do back home. I moved out to try and expand.
He shrugs. Deerwood is a former Adir colony, so it seemed like a good place to start. And as much as I admire the Red Serens' work ethic, they've always struck me as a little fanatical. Well, it seems like you got the short end of the stick. I don't see it that way. Heoden begins restacking the crates in his wagon. My brothers and I are all working together for the sake of the family enterprise. Okay, well, let's see what you've got, Heoden. Maybe I'll make a contribution to the family enterprise. So, stores allow us to trade and sell our items for copper pieces or CP, or for items in the store's inventory. Merchants buy items from us at a greatly reduced price, so if we sell something, we might see it appear in their store's inventory with a much higher cost. Stores will periodically refresh their inventories, although I don't know how frequently. It doesn't say there. So we've got some stuff here. We've got Gorn's Pledge. This item grants the ability to shield the wearer from the myriad perils that plague the world of Aora. An aspect of the god Eothas, Gorn represents the harvest of old age, symbolized here by the many interlocking sickles that form the ring. As Gorn helps protect the dignity of old age, so too do his followers pledge to prevent young lives from being harvested before their time. That gives us an ability called Gorn's Pledge. It's plus 15 endurance. We can use it 2 per rest. Okay. Then we have a giant miniature space piglet. This tiny titanic pig has an otherworldly appearance that seems to be at odds with its endearing behavior. It follows you dutifully and requires nothing in return save companionship. I think this must be some DLC item or something. It's just a pet, which just means you slot it into the pet slot in your equipment, and it will follow you around. It's just cosmetic, it doesn't contribute to combat or anything, can't die, can't be killed, can't do damage. Then we have Deerwooden Clothing. Right now we're wearing mail armor, which has a damage resistance of 9, but minus 45% recovery speed. The Deerwooden Clothing has no damage resistance, but also no recovery speed. And then we have a Potion of Minor Endurance, which gives us plus 63.5 endurance. This vibrant purple potion has an equally apparent effect, for imbibing it immediately grants a rush of energy, restoring vitality and briskness to even the most haggard and weary of travelers. And then we have a Potion of Minor Regeneration, which is similar but does it over time instead of instantly. These blue-green liquids are attributed with powers of recuperation, restoring energy and liveliness to the weary or morose over a period of time. Though most Deerwoodens originated in the Adir Empire, Deerwooden clothing has changed a great deal since the initial waves of colonization. Deerwoodens favor tough garments, often made from wool and deerskin. Due to the changing weather of the Eastern Reach, vests and other layers are common in Deerwooden daily outfits. Okay, so there's some weapons we can buy here, but no guns. So for this character, I want him to be a ranged damage dealer, and I want him to use pistols, blunderbusses, and like an arquebus. So all gunpowder weapons, basically. I don't want to use crossbows, hunting bows, or war bows. But unfortunately, there aren't any gunpowder weapons that I can buy from Heodan, which is a shame. I presume that must be an oversight on the part of the developers, to be honest. But yeah, there is some armor I can buy, but the only one that's better than what we've got is this Brigandine. And I don't think it's worthwhile buying. I don't need more potions. There are some lockpicks. I'll buy those, though. And I'll sell the Potion of Minor Endurance. So we'll get 111 copper pieces. We'll get 3 lockpicks. Never know when lockpicks can come in handy, so it's always good to have them. So, yeah. Alright. Okay. That looks fine.
Sure.
Anything
Something
else
else you
Heodan?
need? Looks like we're settled for the night.
Okay, I think we've done everything. Alright, I better go. Thanks, Heodan. And we should probably go into scouting mode with, you know, when we're traveling around. So scouting mode is used for both stealth and for finding hidden objects like traps and secret containers. While scouting, your character's selection circles will start to fill with yellow when a character is starting to detect them. Once the circle fills yellow, the character is suspicious and will move to investigate while the circle fills red. If the circle becomes fully red, your characters will be discovered. A character's ability to find hidden objects is based on his or her mechanics skill, and a high mechanics skill allows them to find objects at a greater distance. Moving toward a character accelerates how quickly they will detect you, and if you actually touch the selection circle of a character with your own, you will be immediately detected. Cool. Alright. So obviously we're immediately detected by all those characters, but that's okay, it doesn't matter. So exploration is key in Pillars of Eternity. As you make your way through the Eastern Reach, open the area map to see what parts of the map you've already been to and what's left to explore. So we've still got a bunch to explore here. And that's why it's good to be in this stealth mode, so that if we, you know, do stumble upon enemies, it's not too bad. That's Sparful. He's supposed to be getting us water.
I'll have your water soon enough. Stream's not going anywhere.
Okay, if you say so.
There's a grove nearby. Ought to have what you're looking for.
He must be talking about the spring berries.
There's a grove nearby. Ought to have what you're looking for.
And I mean, I know that it's not going anywhere, but
Stay quiet.
still, like, I am gonna die if I don't drink water. So it might be nice for him to go and do it. I mean, I suppose I'm here. I could just drink it right now. Oh, that's a deer there. Can we kill the deer? Oh no, it saw us. It has escaped. It's alright. I don't think it would have dropped anything anyway. Ooh. Travelers maybe, or looters, or bandits. Bad sign any way you figure it. Yeah, so some dead bodies there. Is there anything down here? No. Nothing there. What was that? Oh, that's that tree trunk that's blocking the road. The corpse is cold to the touch, and a ripe smell wafts from it in putrid waves. A dark, crusted bloodstain besmirches its simple linen clothing. So he's got a lockpick and some leather armor. We'll take that. Anything over here?
Steady does it.
No. Okay. Let's cross the river. See what's on the other side. Oh, there's a lantern there. Use the tab key to highlight interactive objects in the environment. Yeah, I'll usually leave that on as a toggle. I don't like missing things, so yeah. Ooh, looks like there's a camp there. Let's just check down here first. Oh, nothing there. Looks like some mushrooms we can take. Deer cap.
This is recent. Not good.
Yeah. The footprints around the campfire are indistinct and may have been here for days or longer. Oh, we've discovered something
Worth a
hidden
look.
there. And we've got some beer. And what's in this tent? We've got the Disappointer, which is a unique pistol. Very slow speed, 8 meter range, weak interrupt, 15 to 20 pierce damage, but with -5 accuracy against deflection. And then it's got the terrible effect as well, which gives -8 accuracy and -33% damage, 6 damage resistance bypass, and -0.3 to crit damage multiplier. The Disappointer was touted as a powerful, reliable weapon, but it has consistently failed every one of its unfortunate owners. This is a terrible weapon that disappoints anyone who uses it. The gun appears well made at first glance, but closer scrutiny reveals poor design and shoddy craftsmanship. Those who aren't fooled by its appearance still occasionally attempt to use it, just to see if maybe the whole thing was made to look this way as an elaborate ruse, hoping that it is an artifact of extreme power, crafted by a master who desired to conceal its remarkable nature. It wasn't, and it isn't. Well, that's a shame. So we can actually probably increase its quality if we want to, but might not be worthwhile. It would take, yeah, we'd have to, yeah, because I think terrible's lower than fine, so we'd have to increase it like this by enchanting it, but we need, you know, obviously that's expensive, we need things to do that. And then we've got Valian clothing. The Valian republics pride themselves on their elaborate clothing. At the heart of a vast trade empire, the republics have access to a myriad of textiles and dyes that they use in their garment industry. Citizens of the republic favor dark colors, elaborate patterning, high collars, and voluminous sleeves and breeches. And then we have a tricorn hat. Hats come in many different shapes, sizes, and a wide array of colors. The Woodens are known for their modest rustic hats, while Valians are associated with broad-brimmed hats featuring a variety of exotic plumes. I have to say, this clothing in this hat looks a lot like our father's clothing and hat, and the pistol maybe could have been the one that he used to wear on his belt. I mean, yeah, did we just stumble across our disappeared father's camp? I mean, he went out for cigarettes one day and never came back. Maybe this is where he camped before eventually, you know, disappearing completely. Very strange. In any event, let's equip the pistol as our second weapon. We probably won't use it though, because it's not very good. And we'll put that hat on. And do we want to wear the clothing? Oh, very stylish. Yep, that looks just like dear old dad. But we'll stick with the male armor for the moment. We'll hang on to that though. So we can switch to our new weapon sets by selecting it on the character action bar.
Yeah.
Like that. But we'll just stick with what we've got at the moment, which is a rapier and a stiletto. Alright, let's set up this way. Sparfle said there was a grove nearby. Shh. Anything down there? No. Let's check up here. Oh, some more mushrooms. Or roses or something. Burned lady. Yeah, that's another mushroom.
Let's check by those outcroppings.
Alright. Oh, so there's a young wolf up there. So, what we'll do, I think, is we'll have Kalisha knock that down, and then I'll come. So, Pillars of Eternity combat uses a pausable real-time system. Because you'll often manage more than one character at a time, it's a good idea to pause the game, issue orders, and resume real-time to see the orders play out. And yeah, there's also some other things we can do, but that's fine. Okay, what we want is, we want Kalisha to engage. So, one of our characters has been engaged in melee. When characters are engaged, they immediately stop moving. If they move again, they will provoke a disengagement attack from the enemies engaging them. Your characters will also automatically engage enemies when they initiate attacks against them with melee weapons. I think the disengagement attack is only when you move out of melee range. I don't think it's just when you move at all, because I'm pretty sure you can circle an enemy, but maybe I'm wrong. Alright, so let's attack from the side there. So we had two things there. What was the first one? So all characters in the game, friend and foe, have 4 primary defenses against attacks: deflection, fortitude, reflex, and will. These defenses are based on the character's attributes, level, items, and other effects. Accuracy is compared to the appropriate defenses when an attack is made. If accuracy is below the targeted defense, the attack suffers a penalty to the roll and is more likely to result in a miss. If accuracy is above the targeted defense, the attack is more likely to result in a crit. And then when a party member takes damage, they will start to lose endurance and health. Their portrait will begin to fill with a red overlay, and the health bar to the left of their portrait will slowly start to decrease. When the portrait fills entirely red, the character will be knocked out. Potions and spells can be used to restore endurance to keep characters in the fight, but health can only be restored by resting. Okay, we'll get Kalisha to attack that one, knock it down. We'll keep attacking that until we can use one of our powers.
What you need?
Okay, so now we can use a power, so let's go there, and let's use that antipathetic field beam, so sometimes a weapon or spell simply isn't well suited to penetrating an enemy's damage reduction. When the attack hits, the DR will wipe out all but a small percentage of the incoming damage. That percentage is 20%. That's the minimum amount damage can be reduced to by DR. You'll hear your characters complain about it when it happens. Take heed, note the damage type that's being blocked, and switch to a weapon or spell that does a different damage type. Okay. Okay. Now we'll just flank that one. Cool. So that's both the wolves down, so we get these wolf hide. The wolves of the Deerwood are a large and crafty breed, bereft of the species' usual shyness, and they present a serious hazard to travelers who venture off the beaten path. Hunters who seek them out will not usually contend with a single wolf, for they travel in packs of varying size, presenting a challenge to any lone hunter. Their furry hides are valued for the warmth they can provide, and the teeth of the strongest wolves make for impressive trophies. Cool.
Spring berries grow wild all over the place here. Keep your eye out. This is it.
Yep, so that's the spring berries there. So yeah, our endurance regenerated. Kalisha took a little bit of damage to her health, but is back at full endurance. And we took a bit of damage to her health as well. Okay. As you receive quests, your journal will update with relevant information. If you ever get stuck, open it up to review your notes. So because we're a mercenary, Kalisha says, "You look like you've seen your share of action. What did you do before you came out here?" "Well, I used to go on adventures and expeditions, whatever paid." "Yeah? How is it you happened to come here?" Well, I had a job go bad on me. Some deaths that didn't need to happen. Hazard of the lifestyle, I suppose. You had to expect it was a possibility, no matter how much you didn't want it to be that way." Kalisha breathes in her surroundings. "It's been a long time since I've been this way, but I always did like it. Lord Raedric's offer makes a girl think, I'll give him that. You here to settle, like the rest of the lot?" No, I'm just passing through." That's usually the case with the big city just a little ways further up the same road. Where you headed?" Somewhere I can make some money, hopefully." "Ah, a man after my own heart. May your luck be better than mine. Anyway, I'm wasting time here. Odima will give me an earful. Let's be on our way." "Well, hang on, Kalisha. Why don't you tell me why you're here?" Kalisha sighs unevenly. Her eyes search the ground at her feet. "My sister moved out here, some time back. She sent me a letter. She seemed worried, but that's how she always is. This time, though, she asked me to come out, and that's got me a little worried. I haven't seen her in ages. Been doing guide work in Ixmitil, but I'd do anything for her. She's a much better woman than me. So I'm here, and we'll see. Odima I've worked with before. He doesn't usually drive her out this way, but he's doing it for me." "Okay, and why don't you tell me a bit about yourself?" "I've got simple needs. I like open skies and far horizons. I find work that lets me live that way. My family wanders too. We started in Deerwood, but my parents ended up in the Living Lands. I've got a brother in Rawatai, and another in Adir. My sister in Gilded Vale, she's the only real homebody." "And what can you tell me about the Deerwood?" "I'm not much for history, but from what I know, it used to be part of the Adir Empire. Broke off after a war some years back. The locals here are feisty, and that's how they like it. I've been out of touch, but I've been hearing weird kinds of things about it lately. People having trouble giving birth, I guess. A lot of them. Been going on for years now, but somehow it's getting worse." With an uneasy tremor in her voice, she adds, "I'll have to ask my sister more about it." Okay, alright, well let's get back to the camp, Kalisha. "You know, I wouldn't hold my breath that Sparfle's getting you water anytime soon. He does what he feels like when he feels like it. We should check up on him first, slap him around a little. Stream's just down that way. Come on, let's go get you your water." Alright, cool. Do you have anything else to say?
Sooner we find Sparfle, sooner we can get you feeling better. Sooner we find Sparfle, sooner we can get you feeling better.
Alright, well let's go have a look. Stream's down here, so let's go see if he could either be down here or over here. Actually, that looks new. He's probably over this way. Oh, and I should check. I didn't check up here. Almost forgot. Just in case there's anything of note. Aha. Admith's Weird. Okay. And that's the way we came. This path winds through a narrow canyon back the way you came. Grooves in the road.
Shouldn't stray too far.
I agree, we shouldn't stray too far. But yeah, winds through a narrow canyon back the way you came. Grooves in the road mark the passage of hundreds of caravans. Okay. So, dead end. Can't go back that way. But at least we've explored the whole map by the looks of it. Can't get up here yet, though. There's no path up there, unfortunately. That's blocked off as well. Okay.
What a surprise. Sparfle went hunting. At least he left the water skins. Come on.
You crouch at the riverbank and dip your water skin into the cool water while Kalisha waits nearby, keeping watch. As you rise, you notice her look up sharply towards the tree line. So we get the full water skin. Out of the trees emerges Sparfle, one of the guides, barely discernible in the dim moonlight. He no longer carries his bow, and there is a strangeness to his gait, his stride wobbly as he moves toward you with labored breath.
Sparfle? Are you all right?
Kalisha frowns. Sparfle's toe catches on a rock, and he collapses forward in a heap, the feathered shaft of an arrow planted between his shoulders like an enemy flag. We're under attack. Raise the alarm.
Ambush!
Alright, so we want to get Kalisha to go for him, and we'll go for this Glanfathan hunter. Oh, what? It cancelled my movements. That's alright. We can still do it this way. Oh, hang on. I need to knock him down before I can move. Okay, now I can move. Get behind. Oh. Attack. Okay, and then we'll use our beam. And keep attacking. Okay. Nice. So we lost a bit of endurance, but that's all right. I agree, Kalisha, we do have to get back to camp. But let's loot these people first. Put it into the stash. Do you have anything to say?
Come on, we have to get back to camp.
Yes, alright, okay, we will. Don't worry. Don't worry, Kalisha.
Stay quiet.
We should go in stealth, I think. Okay, so there's another enemy there. Another 2. 3, okay. Alright, we need to get Kalisha to run up, and we need to go around the back.
Yeah.
Alright, and hopefully we can we go like there? Yeah. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, and then we'll run around that way, because I don't want the beam to hit Kalisha. In fact, you can knock that one down, Kalisha. Is he flanked? Now he is. Nice, we scored a crit. A crit is a better result than a hit, and they are more likely to occur when the attack's accuracy is higher than the target's defense. Attacks that do damage will do more damage on crit, and attacks that inflict status effects or afflictions will have increased duration on a crit. Grazers are worse than hits and suffer decreased damage and effect durations. Cool.
Right.
Oh yeah, we'll just put all that into the stash. Okay,
What you need?
any other
Come on,
comments?
we have to get back to camp.
Okay, alright. Alright, when you're right, you're right. Let's get back to camp. Oh, that doesn't look good. All around you lie the massacred remains of the other travelers, peppered with arrows and knife hilts, splayed and bug-eyed and filthy. Kalisha puts the back of her left hand to her mouth as if to ward away some poisonous vapor. A handful of dark figures stand above the fallen, treading on limbs and backs and heads, jerking their axes from bodies as if from half-split logs. One of them, towering and severe with a thick beard tasseled with knots, holds a wet blade at the neck of the man you recognize as Heoden, the last of your caravan left standing. Lay down your arms, trespasser. Do not forfeit this man's life for a fight you will lose. The ruin has not been sullied by our hands, men of Erglanfath. Your words carry no weight when I have seen the truth with my own eyes. Blood must be paid for this intrusion. So I say again, lay down your arms. Don't trust them. They mean to kill us all. Well, I certainly don't intend to lay down my arms. So we can try rush him before he can react, or we can try use our might, perception, or intellect. But I think we'll use this one. Judging by the string of animal teeth around your neck, I am guessing you are worshippers of Galawain. If Galawain told you to stop protecting the ruins, would you? The man frowns and motions as if to swing his axe. Heoden winces, but the blow never comes. Instead, the man cocks his head, intrigued. Of course, but he would not. It is by the command of all the gods that we accept this charge. How do you know? Because it's consistent with their beliefs, or because it's what you were told? The man glares. It has always been known to my people. I see. And what of Galawain's edict that weakness and age must be purged by youth and strength? You think Galawain would want some mouldy, crumbling stones to survive long after their builders have turned to dust? The man's nostrils flare as he fumes. He would not. He told us otherwise. I'm sure he did. Just not you personally. But why should that stop you from killing innocents? Distracted, the man's grip falters on his axe handle, and he nearly fumbles it, affording Heoden the moment he needs to dodge out of his swing, which comes too late. Howling with rage, the man charges you instead. Alright, so we've got Heoden now, who we need to get out of the front line there. We'll get Kalisha to run in. Oh, come on, Heoden. No, what? Okay, I want to get around on this side. Heoden, can you blind that one? And Kalisha, you can knock that chap down, and then I need to get on that side of this guy. I'll do that. Oh, that must have hit Heoden. Damn it. Okay, well that hit Heoden and knocked him out, which is unfortunate. But it is doing good damage to the rest, so... Okay, and then we'll just get behind him. Yeah, sometimes those beams can be a little hard to angle correctly without hitting your friendly teammates. So ouch, when a party member is reduced to 0 endurance, they are knocked out. This means they are out of the fight, but as long as your side is victorious, they will regenerate their endurance when combat ends. Even though endurance regenerates after combat, health does not. Keep an eye on the health bar to the left of a character's portrait to prevent them from becoming maimed or killed. So yeah, his health went down a bit. Yeah, just unfortunate that the beam hit him, but what can you do? Cool. There we go. Your enemy lies supine on the ground, unable to rise, his companions now silent among the other dead. His breath comes in wheezing, fitful gasps. He looks at you. He looks not at you, but at the sky above you. Forgive us. Barely audible beneath his choked sighs, a whisper of wind stirs the air. At this, the man's eyes roll back as he closes them. Good, good. The gods are just. A queer smile crosses his face. I am ready. The wind begins to swell, whipping around the camp, electric and volatile, upending pots and rattling tents like an angry spirit. You can feel it begin to seep beneath your skin, and where it pierces you, it feels as though it is rending you apart from within. Seated against a wagon wheel, amidst the howling maelstrom, slashed across chest and bow, Odima's body stirs, and with great effort he raises his sagging head, his eyes barely open. He looks directly at you.
Get inside! Run!
Whoa. Okay. I retract my superstitious comments about Beowicks earlier. Straining against a gale that threatens to pull you off your feet with every step, you set your hands in the worn folds of weathered rock and set about pulling yourself up the precipice. With a last burst of energy before your arms give out, you swing yourself up onto the ledge. Heoden trails behind, slowed by injury and delayed by early hesitation. As he nears the face of the rocks, one of the fallen attackers who had been feigning death lunges for Heoden and topples him onto the rocky ground. Restrained, Heoden lashes out against his fatigued assailant, but struggles to break his hold. They are close to you. Despite the wind from your position, if you were to throw your weapon at the attacker, you would have a good chance at hitting your mark. So we can throw our weapon, or we can allow Heoden to break free on his own, or we can grab a rock and hurl it at the attacker. I think we'll do that. So we grab a rock and we hurl it at the attacker. Your aim is true, and the hit jars Heoden loose. Lurching to his feet, Heoden clambers up the base of the rocks. As he nears the top, however, the wind flares, pulling him sideways and tearing one of his hands free. But diving out onto the hard rock, you manage to catch hold of it. Securing his other hand, you pull with waning strength, and it feels as though your arms will be jerked from their sockets. They hold just long enough for Heoden to set his feet and join you on the trembling ledge. There is a deep resonance to the swelling wind now. You feel it in the rocks beneath your feet, and inside the cavity of your own chest, as though it would shake the marrow from your bones. Each new gust menaces the old stones before you, loosening connections, unsettling balances. As you dart beneath the old archway, the entire portal begins to fall beneath its own weight.
Was that?
A Bewick. Had to be.
Heoden's words come between wheezing gasps.
Then we're lucky to be alive.
And we're the only ones.
We can't stay here. There could be another collapse. We're not getting out that way anyway. Let's get further inside.
Okay. Well, that could have gone better, I suppose, but at least we're alive.
Come on, we're not dying in this place.
This trip could have gone better. How can I help? This trip could have gone better.
Yeah, probably. A lower level of the ruins has been blocked off by fallen rubble. Some more Ardra in here.
They'll never know I'm here. That should be far enough. But what now?
Heoden's chest rises and falls visibly with each breath.
We look for another way out. Storm has to die sometime.
What happened out there? Kalisha shakes her head. Windstorm, of a kind they only get in Glanfath. Not too many people live through them, so it's hard to know what's true. The Glanfathan word is Bewick. To them, it's the gods' way of reaping the souls of the land that couldn't find their own way out. But they'll take a living soul as soon as a dead one. Still got yours? Yeah, very funny, Kalisha, of course I do. But who attacked us? Glanfathans. Those would be the hut dwellers Odima warned you about. Look to be Fangs of Galawain, who are the twitchiest of the lot. They go ruin to ruin, looking for fights with colonists. Poor Odima. I think he half expected this, once we lost the main road. The Glanfathan said we trespassed in the ruins. I don't believe that. Odima would never allow it, but as much as the Fangs are hotheads, Glanfathans don't attack without being provoked. Either they saw something and got the wrong idea, or... She glances down the passage beyond. Or there's looters in here with us. That's not something we need right now. And what about everyone else in our caravan? Kalisha's lips press together and her chin rumbles. Her voice is faint. The wheels got hold of them now. She looks up. Gods grant them better luck in their next lives. You don't seem too upset about all this, Kalisha. Kalisha looks you in the eye, a volatile current running beneath her voice. Maybe you just don't know me enough to know what upset looks like. And maybe I've seen worse, too. Seen worse and kept on walking, because there's nothing else to be done, and because there's other people you care about who still need you. Alright, sorry I mentioned it. Let's just get going.
Come on, we're not dying in this place.
How can I help? This trip could have gone better.
Alright, so we've got two ways to go. We can go left, we can go right. Let's try going left first.
Shh. Someone else has been here. We should move.
Wonder who was here, see if they left anything useful behind. Yeah. Oh, they did. Hammer and chisel, camping supplies, and a mace. Take that. You've discovered some camping supplies. You can use these to rest in the wilderness or dungeons, fully restoring all of your character's abilities and health. Easy difficulty allows you to carry more camping supplies, but hard restricts them severely. If you fully run out of camping supplies, try to find an inn. Most have cheap rooms available. And another torch and a small shield. Okay. But nothing else of note there.
Be quiet.
Okay, so there's two ways. We can go that way, we can go this way. Let's try go this way. Zaurip. A trembling, sickly creature emerges from the dark, clutching a spear. Knobby elbows and thin ribs show through its scaly flesh, but you recognize it as a Zaurip. It watches you cautiously, breathing in ragged sighs. Let's raise our arms and stand still. The creature cocks its head and approaches you, a soft clicking sound emanating from the back of its throat. The creature sniffs around you and finds nothing of interest. It steps back and resumes its defensive posture. It's okay, I won't hurt you. The Zaurip recoils, fingers still wrapped tightly around its spear. And then it approaches again, sniffs again, and finding nothing of interest, steps back and resumes defensive posture. Alright, let's slowly back away. The Zaurip watches warily as you go. Maybe it's looking for something on us. Maybe if we had food or something else, it would be friendly. Oh,
Those
hang on.
tiles look suspicious. Let's be careful.
Yeah. They do look suspicious. So, the Eastern Reach is a dangerous place full of lurking enemies and carefully concealed secrets. Enable scouting mode to move stealthily and search for hidden objects like traps and secret doors. Yeah, so there's a number of, I'm sure there's traps here. Yep. Yep.
Worth a look.
Can we disarm them? Might not be good enough to disarm them. Oh no, some of them we can disarm maybe. Some of them must be lower level than others. Okay.
Found something. Found something. Found something.
Alright, so we've made a path through.
Finished. Finished.
Okay. Alright, so I think we've disabled all the ones we can. Yeah. So those other ones must be too difficult. Nothing down there. There's a door over there as well. Alright, let's go through that.
Yeah. That roundish symbol. I'm pretty sure I saw it on one of the tiles back there.
Yeah, so those symbols look just like the tiles. Okay, so let's have a look at this. The symbol of a patterned circle is inscribed on this pillar. An unlit brazier sits at its base. It could be lit if you had the means. Alright, well, let's light it with the torch. Flames kindle swiftly in the brazier, winding their way upwards. Yeah, again, flames kindle swiftly in the brazier. Okay, cool. So I guess we light all of these and then the rest of the traps are disabled. Or maybe it only disables the ones that we've already disarmed, so it might not make much of a difference. Let's have a look.
Steady does it.
Let's go see.
Stay quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it only disabled the, or maybe it disables the trap, so you can still trigger it, but just nothing happens. But anyway, it looks like it only disabled those other ones. Alright.
They'll never know I'm here.
Wait, what was that up there? Ah, some mural. This mural must be ancient, yet the colours are still bright and vivid. It shows a procession of Engwithans from all the Kith races, Amawa, Elf, Orlan, Dwarf, and Human. They walk among pillars similar to the ones that span this chamber, each one topped with a flame. Okay, so that's just a hint as to how to solve the puzzle. Killant Lee. Okay. So we can still go down this way, and we can cross up that way too. There might be something down here.
They'll never know I'm here.
Ooh, okay, there's an enemy. Lesser Black Ooze. 2 Lesser Black Oozes. Okay, alright, let's do it this way. You go for that one, I'll go for this one, you go out there somewhere, and let's get out of stealth mode now. Ooh, Kalisha just got bloody demolished. Let's do that, but let's reposition Kalisha. Okay, it is. You do get a disengagement attack when they move. That's unfortunate. Okay, you go there now. Hayden, you go there. Nice. Okay, Kalisha didn't get knocked out, which is good. Yeah, that ranged attack hit her pretty hard. So we get some lesser black ooze. There's a poleaxe on that corpse.
Right.
Anything else of note in here?
What's that muck on the wall?
Viscous and oily, this muck clings to anything it touches. Yeah, I don't know. A viscous slick of something dark and tar-like runs down this wall. The shapes and bulges in the ooze suggest that something lies beneath it, but you can't tell what. Okay, let's use our water skin to clear off the ooze. You rinse the ooze away, revealing an intricate relief of a man's face. The sunburst surrounding it has chipped away in places, but the details of his head, from the tight curls of hair to the ridges of his pointed ears, still showcase remarkable craftsmanship. One eye socket is empty, a gem fills the other. Okay, so I'm sure we need to find probably a gem, I imagine, and fit it into that that face. Let's check down this way now. There's a body here. Body! He's got a crossbow, leather armor, and Gwithan relief gem. Oh, that probably goes in that eye. This brilliant blue gem has been sculpted to look like an eye. Yep. And then a torch and a tattered journal. This small folio is torn in several places, and blood has soaked into several of the sheets. One later entry is still legible, however. I can't believe my luck. A few rounds of dice, and I've got my hands on a genuine Engwithan artifact. Fellow who had it said it was a pretty nothing, as far as he's concerned. He's not willing to go digging in some ruins. But if he is right about the gem leading to hidden treasure, then that's worth sneaking past a few painted elves. I'll head to Killant Lee in the morning. Then it's just a matter of finding this relief he was talking about. Cool. Alright, let's take all of that. And let's check up this way.
Do you
Okay.
hear that?
Yeah, some enemy down the path there. Alright, let's just go attack it. Kalisha can knock it down, and Hayden can blind it. Cool, well, that was easy enough. And we get some Scolder meat. Scolder meat is both stringy and slimy, making it palatable to few in its raw form. Yeah, they're like giant rat things. And there's a hatchet here. And a wall.
Take a look at the wall. Think we could get through?
Yeah, maybe. A crack runs along this wall from floor to ceiling. A light gust of air passes through it. So we can use our hammer and chisel to weaken the wall, or we can just try push on it. Let's try push on it. Despite the damage, the stone looks heavy and solid. We'll do it ourselves because we're pretty strong. We've got a lot of might attribute. You push with all your might, and the crack begins to spread. Finally, you feel the ancient masonry give way. The wall crashes down, revealing a circular room ahead. So we passed a might 16 check. Cool. Alright.
I could scout ahead, see what's around the corner. How can I help?
Yeah, maybe that's worthwhile. Oh, so there's a starved Scolder whelp.
What you need?
Alright, I think we just get Kalisha to engage.
Yeah.
And then we'll get you to engage that one.
Yeah.
I'll engage this one. Like that. Oh, he got stunned. Okay, let's blind that one. Okay. Do I want to use spell? I don't think we need it really, and the beam will just hit. It'll just hit. Kalisha, you can knock down that one. Nice, cool. Yeah, I didn't want to use the beam there. It would have just hit friendlies. Scolder ear, the tattered ear of a Scolder. Okay.
Sure. Steady does it.
Big piece of Ardra in the middle of the room here.
Do you feel that? There's a draft coming through that wall. I don't hear any sign of that storm either.
It must mean that wall there. That looks like there's some spiders.
Hmm?
Okay. No loot from them.
Nice and slow.
Nothing over there. What about up here? Oh, more spiders. And a big spider. Okay. Let's get you to go for that one. Kalisha, can you get the big spider?
What you need?
And I'll just... Actually, alright, fine, I'll go for that one then. You go for that one.
Hmm?
Actually, can you go there? And blind it. Okay, I'll go here. And I'll use the...
Let's go!
Nice. Cool. Alright. We get a spear spider leg. Spear spiders have long tapering front limbs ending in a sharp point, which they use to impale their prey. This leg is covered in small backward facing barbs. That's
right.
fine. Let's have a look around here. Bats as large as chickens are strung in the web.
Steady does it.
So there's an exit there. There's something over here as well. Web sack with a bloodstone. Bloodstone is traditionally a dark stone, often a deep green, but the presence of pockets of iron or red jasper resembling blood spatter give the stone its name as well as its value. And we've got a rapier, which is what we've already got equipped. And there's something down this way. That looks like it's a dead end. So it's a helmet and some agate and jasper. Agates are common in Aora, oft used by craftsmen for their bright colors. Their considerable hardness also lends them a variety of more practical applications. And then jasper. Jasper is found in the wild as a dull, mottled stone, frequently in red or green, but often with a variety of colors lent by other surrounding minerals. While relatively easy to find, the stone's distinctive swirls of color give it endless variety. Alright, nothing else there. So I don't want to leave just yet because we need to go and... I guess there is nothing we can give that Zaurip, so we'll just go see if we can loot whatever is behind him. She probably won't enjoy, but... Can we talk to him again? Oh, we can give him Skulder meat. The Zaurip sniffs around your pack and noses excitedly at something. It steps back and points to your pack, salivating and holding its spear out to you. Yeah, let's give him the Skulder meat. You produce a piece of Skulder meat from your pack and toss it onto the floor. The Zaurip's nostrils flare at the scent of fresh meat, and its eyes dart between you and the food. It creeps towards the prize, shoving the spear into your grip and snatching the meat with both hands at the last moment. Its gullet quivers as it devours the flesh in noisy chomps. Cool. The Zaurip continues to gnaw on knots of cartilage and tendon. Yeah, so we get a spear, and we get to loot the urn, and the Zaurip. We can leave him be. I mean, we could kill him anyway, but no point really. Alright, and let's go put that gem into this eye. Alright. So, a relief of a man's face gapes at you from the wall. One eye socket is empty. Let's put the gem in the eye socket. The chamber begins to rumble, stray rocks dancing across the tile floor. Finally, a large section of the wall gives way. Ah, cool. Ooh, there's an ooze in there. Okay, let's just go for it. Try knock it down.
What you need?
Oh, it's immune to being knocked down. Oh, it's just one. And it's easy enough to kill. So we get some more ooze plasma, and there is some stuff in here. We've got amethyst. Amethyst can be found in a variety of shades, but those of darkest purple are considered to be the most valuable. Discovery of new sources has become commonplace in the past few hundred years, and amethyst no longer fetches the same value it once did. An Adra, an organic material crystalline... what? Oh, an organic material crystalline in structure, but shell-like in substance. Adra can be found growing up through the ground in veins in many parts of Aora. Easy to carve and manipulate, it is a favorite of jewelers as a semi-precious stone, and is often cut more intricately and beautifully than other gems. And we have the Minor Cloak of Protection, +5 Fortitude, Reflex, and Will. Capes and cloaks can be worn for protection from the elements and from prying eyes alike. Many are woven with spells to provide additional defense or abilities. So we'll take that, and the rest we'll put into stash. In fact, we should sort out inventory as well. I'll take all the lockpicks, and the others we can put into the stash. Some of this we can put into the stash as well. Actually, the ring we should equip, no reason not to. Put that in the stash. We'll hang on to the torch, we'll hang on to the hammer and chisel. Put the cloak on. Cool, alright, sorts out our inventory. Cool.
Right.
So I think we've done everything in here, so we can leave now. I just need to be careful. Yeah, definitely can't disarm any of them. Ooh, I thought she almost tripped it there. But we're okay. Alright. Cool. Alright, out we go. Let's chuck a save game down. Okay. Oh, what's going on here? An older robed man. 4 figures stand before an otherworldly apparatus, an ancient structure of chiseled ardra and metallic veins, ominous and looming like a silent observer. Standing motionless in their midst is what appears to be a human body, colorless as stone or ash. The other figures gaze upon it in what might be contemplation. From your vantage point, you are well obscured from their view. The figure closest to the machine stands out among them. A thick grey beard frames a face otherwise hidden beneath a metallic mask. His faded robes are embroidered with a runic language unlike anything you have ever seen, and he wears a strange black headdress with 2 protrusions that jut out like the wings of some malevolent creature.
Oathbinder, bear witness, and see this man has kept his word true to his last breath, full to his blood's last drop. Guide his soul, queen that was, and regard it among your favored. Let his life by the key be his confession. Let his death by the key be his absolution. May he walk the world ever free of the crushing weight of the book.
He addresses the petrified body, thusly.
Your brother has done his part, and you have seen the power of his contribution. I will accept no further hesitation from the rest of you. In the sight of the queen that was, will you fulfill the oath? Will you take your place beside your brother in the endless esteem of her memory that is without flaw? Step forth, and be assured of the great worth of your life's course.
The man passes his gaze over the others standing around him. He looks each in the eye in turn. What the heck? For an instant the apparatus goes quiet and the air is still. Then all at once it erupts with a concussive surge. Light floods your vision and you are knocked to the ground. Your head snaps back as you land, and pain wells into the back of your skull, washing your last thoughts away into the black, unconscious void. You open your eyes to a different place, another time. You stand in a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with ardra and trimmed with copper. The style is ancient, but the chamber is unweathered. At the far end, a great pillar of ardra pierces the floor from below, its shimmering texture giving the illusion of boundless depth. Encircling the pillar is an apparatus much like the one you have just seen, but immense and multifaceted and intertwined. Your thoughts are yours and not yours, and they seem to exist before you think them, and they are all questions, pressing questions, troubling questions, questions that must be answered, or... At the base of the pillar now, you see a man with a thick grey beard and ceremonial robe, crowned with a strange ornamental headdress. You know this man. You are walking toward him now, at a pace that is hurried while trying not to appear so. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all, and the question spins madly in your mind. Oh, they turn to ash. Ash statues. You awaken to find your malaise is broken, only to be replaced with something far more concerning. Faint whispers are audible at the edge of your hearing, like a ringing in your ears that does not subside. Movement flits through your periphery, but when you turn to look, you can see no sign of whatever it was. You find your gaze regularly darting this way and that, an involuntary, paranoid tick. If this is a sickness, it may be dangerous to go without treatment for long. The figures at the machine stand frozen in place, flesh and blood replaced by cinders and ash. The man who led them is nowhere to be seen. Heoden and Kalisha lie bloody on the uneven cobbles, their bodies twisted unnaturally in death. You are alone, and far from help. Gilded Veil may be your best hope of receiving treatment before things get worse. So we've become fatigued. Fatigue represents the physical and psychological wear and tear of demanding activity on a character. It's most commonly received as an injury when a character is knocked out, but some scripted interactions will also result in fatigue if they are especially grueling. Fatigue goes through multiple stages, initially inflicting minor penalties but growing in severity over time. Resting is the easiest way to remove the effects of fatigue, though some consumables can also remove fatigue. Okay. So our character has earned enough experience to advance a level, so let's do that. So we can invest in some of the skills. So there's 5 skills. We currently have 2 score in lore, 1 in athletics, 1 in stealth somehow. Oh, because we're a Cipher, yep. And 1 in mechanics. But we're going to invest deeper into mechanics. Get that up to level 4. Okay. And we get to pick another ability. So we can go with Eye Strike, which will blind and daze. So it blinds and dazes the target, and then also blinds in an AoE around the target. We can get Soul Shock, which causes an ally to do a burst of shock to enemies around them, or characters around them. Tenuous Grasp frightens and confuses for 21 seconds. And Mind Wave. Target becomes the object of a concussive blast of psychic energy, suffering raw damage from the trauma. Characters in a conical area behind the target, failing a fortitude check, are knocked prone from the blast. I think we'll go with Mind Wave. I feel like that's probably more useful than the other ones. And now we get to pick a talent. So there's a bunch we can choose from. So let's have a look at them. So Fast Runner, +1 move speed, 5 defense when disengaging, damage reduction to burn and extra burn damage. Same for shock, same for corrode, same for freeze. Then quick switch, -1.5 weapon change recovery and -4 grimoire cooldown. This is a once per rest ability we can use, which gives us plus 40% health over 13 seconds, so restores health without having to rest. This is the same, but allows us to target friendlies. I don't think any of the utility ones are useful. Defense, hold the line, +1 enemies engaged. Useful for tanks, not useful for us. +10 reflex, fortitude and will. And then weapon and shield style, +6 shield deflection. And the shield deflection bonus also applies to reflex. Very good for tanks, not good for us. +12 defense when disengaging. Yeah, we don't need that. Then offensive, the weapon focuses aren't bad. So you can see there they each give +6 accuracy to different weapon types. We're going to go with like guns, so we probably want to use Ruffian, Saber, Stiletto, Club, Pistol, and Blunderbuss. Unfortunately, Arquebus is in the Soldier one, not Ruffian, so we probably won't use an Arquebus. We'll probably use pistols and blunderbusses. Marksman is also good, +5 accuracy against distant enemies. And then you've got 2 weapon style, 20% dual wield attack speed, which isn't useful for us because you can't dual wield pistols in this game. One-handed style, again, not useful for us because it only applies to melee weapons, and same with two-handed style, only applies to melee weapons. Then there are some class abilities, so these first ones here are all for the Cipher, and then these ones here are like weaker versions of other classes' special abilities. So Veteran's Recovery is the like a weaker version of the Fighter's ability, so Fighters will always regenerate endurance passively during combat, so we can get a version of that, basically, which is a bit weaker. We've got Runner's Wounding Shot, which is the Ranger ability. Rhymer's Summon, which is the Chanter's ability, lets us summon skeletons. Prestidigitator's Missiles, which is the Wizard's ability. This is like not that great, to be honest. So, look, some of these are all okay, but they're not really worth spending a talent. Outlander's Frenzy is pretty good. Once per encounter, you can get +3 might, constitution, 25% attack speed at the cost of some endurance, deflection, health, and endurance. Sorry, at the cost of -10 deflection, but health and endurance are concealed, which I think means you're invulnerable. I don't know. I don't know what concealed means. Oh, no, it means that you don't know how low your health or endurance is getting. That's what it means. So, yeah, you basically go into Berserker mode. That's the Barbarian's skill. Novice's Suffering is the Monk skill, gives you unarmed damage. Gallant's Focus is the Paladin's one. Gives you +4 accuracy and an aura, which will affect your allies as well. But again, some of these aren't useful because like we're going to have a Paladin in the party at some point. So we don't need that. Aspirant's Mark is the Druid's one. Once per encounter, you can give an enemy -8 deflection and reflex. This one's pretty good. Apprentice's Sneak Attack gives you +15% melee damage and +15% range damage on your sneak attacks. To do a sneak attack, you don't have to be in stealth, and you don't even have to be behind the target. You just have to hit a target that is either afflicted with paralyzed, stunned, petrified, prone, or flanked, or hobbled. There's a few other ones. So any target that's affected by an affliction, basically, you can do sneak attacks against. Then we've got Greater Focus, +10 max focus. Draining Whip gives us more focus gain from Soul Whip. And as long as our, Soul Whip, as long as our focus is below the maximum, we do more damage and range damage. So we always want to be using our focus when we can. Psychic Backlash, once per encounter, the target will get stunned if it tries to attack us with a will attack. And Biting Whip modifies Soul Whip to give an extra 20% melee and range damage. I think we'll go with Biting Whip for the extra damage. Yeah, useful. Cool, that's what we'll go with. Great. After leveling a character up, you may want to review their stats. Yeah, that's fine. And let's loot Heoden and Kalisha. Take their armor. They're not going to need it. Very sad that they died, though. Alright, and let's stealth around. For 2 reasons. 1, in case we come across enemies. 2, in case we spot... That was weird. What was that? It was like a vision of someone getting tortured. But yeah, 2 is like in case we spot secret objects or hidden loot. So we got some St. Giron's Horn. Pilgrim's Crown. That still looks kind of active. Vessel Flesh. Oh, someone being burnt at the stake there. Oh, that vision isn't going away. Oh, now it goes. More Pilgrim's Crown. Let's have a look at this machine. This massive structure is formed of stone, ardra, and copper, and covered in strange glyphs. The air around it vibrates with an unusual energy. Okay, well, I think we've got everything we can get from here. So let's try get to Gilded Vale and find some treatment. So here we are up at Killant Lee, and then Gilded Vale's down here, but we've got to go through Valewood to get to it. And then further down is Defiance Bay, and then there's some more stuff down that way. So let's go to Valewood. Take us 6 hours to get there. Okay. Alright, I'll take that. That's Admeth's Weird. Just have a look around up here. There's a body here as well. Some leather armor and some camping supplies. We've got the max quantity of camping supplies. Well, we may as well camp then, because we're currently fatigued. You can see here, major fatigue, -20 accuracy and -25% maximum endurance, which is I mean, that's a lot. Like, that's really not good. So let's rest here. We'll camp. We can't choose a camping bonus because we don't have any survival skill, but camping will give us back our lost health. It'll get rid of fatigue. Consumes 1 camping supply, but yeah, no bonus because we don't have any survival skill. But we'll camp there. Oh, that's a weird vision. Okay. We'll take that camping supplies now. Alright.
Nice and slow.
What is that? I'm having more visions. This isn't good. Some blood moss there. Alright, and then down this ravine. What is that? Oh, another vision running up this way. River Reed. There's a corpse there, but can't loot it. Alright. Okay. Well, we'll finish exploring Valewood and head on to the Gilded Vale in the next episode. I might leave it there for the first episode, but I hope you've enjoyed watching. Look forward to you joining me next time. But for now, I'll catch you later. Take care.